What is going on, everybody? Welcome to Czar Chat episode 6, brought to you by cardzar.com. That's www.cardzar.com. Everything you can need for all your collecting needs, we got you covered. I'm Luke, as always. Find me on Instagram at cardzar. And we are joined by the man, the myth, the legend, the only person in my 35-year history to answer my DMs. We got Coach Doug from Barstool Sports. Doug, how you doing tonight?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you. Thank you so much for joining us. I saw you starting to break some cards on your Twitter feed, and I was like, you know what, shoot or shoot. I'm going to reach out and see if Doug wants to talk sports cards, and by God willing, you answered me. So thank you very much.
Oh, no, absolutely. I'm happy to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
So for those who don't know who Coach Doug's is arguably the best, one of the best stories to come out of I'd say the internet during the times of COVID. Doug's, why don't you just take it away? You tell the story of how you landed with Barstool.
Yeah, sure. And so so Barstool Sports, obviously everyone knows about Barstool Sports, major publication, lifestyle, internet company with Big Cat and PFT and everyone. But yeah, quarantine hit and March Madness got canceled. And so when there's no sports, what does a sports media website company do? They create sports. And so Big Cat bought an Xbox 360. He bought, I think it was NCAA 14. It was a six-year-old game. They quit playing. They quit making NCAA after 14. Yep. And there's a mode on there where you can create your own coach and like have your own dynasty pretty much as a coach. He happened to create the largest coach he could. He gave him a stash. He made him pretty much balding, and he took off from there. And so he was airing him on Twitch. He was tweeting about his record and everything. He named him Coach Doug's. I happened to be on Twitter one day and I saw that hey, while Coach Doug's was at FSU, he started at Toledo, went to FSU, and I noticed hey, that kind of looks like me on game day. So I threw on my FSU polo, I threw on my khaki pants, and I just took a picture of me in front of my FSU diploma. And I told Big Cat, identity theft isn't a joke, basically implying that I'm the real Coach Doug's. And it kind of just took off from there. It was early on in the process where not everyone was following the Coach Doug saga or anything. And after going from different university and the schools actually being in on it, the local reporters from those schools and the areas being in on it, everyone just kind of said, hey, nothing else is going on. We need something to do. We need something to watch, entertain ourselves. And so pretty much everybody just went along with it. And I kind of became the real Coach Doug's.
Gus Duggerton is your full name, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So you mentioned the identity theft is not a crime. And I remember seeing that meme and I died laughing. I thought it was so perfect. It was so well done. It wasn't over the top. It was just very subtle, to the point, yet hilarious. And it was great. I mean, you went to Florida State, which is wild. It's what a coincidence that Coach Doug's won a national championship at Florida State, and he actually went to Florida State. But also, what I thought was really cool was, Tennessee, I think, was really the school that really embraced. You got your own T-shirt from Tennessee, right?
Yeah. And so there were T-shirts. I believe the first one was, I believe, at FSU. He won the Fiesta Bowl at FSU against UConn. Unfortunately, it wasn't for a national title, but he was offensive coordinator there. He worked his way up. But yeah, Tennessee really was. He left FSU to go to USC. USC was all about it. They were tweeting about it. So it's a major, football program just going along with the joke. Like, hey, we're all in on this. And then he went from USC. He got his first head coaching position at Texas Tech. Texas Tech all in on it. Wonderful people down in Lubbock. Yeah. And then, from there, and of course you're in Texas. So, Whataburger got in on it. I did a little Whataburger commercial that I posted. I didn't do it for them. Maybe they'll use it one day, but it was just a little parody. Sure. Of a Subway commercial from Happy Gilmore. But yeah, it was just the schools going in on it. But yeah, once we hit Tennessee really took it to another level and was like, no, we're in on this. Like, not just like, hey, we're in on the joke, but like, we want to help out with the joke. And Tennessee definitely took it to a whole other level.
Well, there's an opening in Tennessee. Are you interested?
I've heard about that. Yeah, as a fellow coach, you never like to see anyone else, another coach, lose their position. I'm still not sure exactly what happened. I've been hearing rumors, but not to tell tales out of school, so I'll leave it at that.
Okay.
Yeah, you never know. I'm retired right now, but there's always opportunity.
I love it. What I thought was really cool too was, I mean, I was listening to the Dave Portnoy show, and he flat out was like, they brought you on full time, he was just like, well, Doug's was just like traveling the country, like just really showing that he wanted to really play into this character. And he also said on the most recent Dave Portnoy show that the way that you kind of get through to him is show that you don't just say, I can do this, show him. And I think it's really impressive that, you took it upon yourself to really show him, this is what I can do, because obviously there's a little bit of a shelf life for something like Coach Doug's, but you've parlayed that into a full-time job. You're hopefully gonna be moving up to the head office here in the next few months. So I commend you for it. I think it's really impressive what you've done and what you've, parlayed from just what was a joke into a full-time job.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. And I definitely recognize like there was a whole lot of luck that went into it. Mm-hmm. I told the Barstool Chicago guys, if Big Cat had made Doug's the avatar with hair, like I wouldn't have been like, if I had hair and Doug's was, bald, then I could shave my head. But if he had made him with hair, like I don't see myself going out and getting a toupee.
Right. Yeah. Right. Well, that might have made it funnier. I think Big Cat might have appreciated that more.
Yeah. But yeah, there was a lot of luck to it. But I did, it was an outlet for me too. It wasn't just, a lot of people said, hey, thanks for doing all this. I'm like, I was at home as well. I was working from home and everything. And so the comedy, I was doing comedy, the Comedy Zone, a stand-up comedian. So that got closed. That was shut down during quarantine, everything. I'm like, I need an outlet too. And so Coach Doug's really was an opportunity for me just to get out of the house and, do something other than wake up and get on the computer and work for a few hours. But you're absolutely right. Yeah, Dave, I get a couple DMs here and there, like, hey, just give me an opportunity, give me a chance. And I'm like, well, first of all, like, I don't have any interns or anything. Like I don't even live in New York yet. Like I'm barely an employee myself. But yeah, I get those DMs where it's like, hey, just give me a chance. I'm like, I'm kind of the wrong person to tell that to, because I that just look what I did. Obviously can't replicate it exactly, but I drove 8 hours to Knoxville. I drove 8.5 hours to Baton Rouge. Yeah. And I mean, it was fun for me. My outlook on it was, at the end of the day, even if I didn't get hired, it was still an awesome adventure. It was still a cool story. Like it was, I'll still have that even if I didn't get hired. Right. But yeah, that's Dave. When he says, if you DM Dave saying, give me a chance rather than doing something, yep. I feel like he would automatically just disregard you, because like you're not doing what he says. Like he's telling you how to get hired. He's telling you how to get noticed. If you're not doing what he's saying, everybody thinks like, oh, if I just get 5 minutes with him and like tell him my idea, like that, he hears ideas all the time. Right. I think I've been an employee for like, I don't know, 4 months now. And I've said hello to him like 4 times. Like, I don't have the nerve. Like we walked by each other a couple times and said, hey. And like, that's it. Yeah. And so, and I'm an employee, like he's paying me. And so, yeah, it's, if you want to get noticed, do something to get noticed, you know, in a positive light.
Well, and I think that's, that is a story, because there's so much talent out there, but how can you get to prove yourself? Like, show me something, astonish me. And I think that, you certainly did that. One thing you did that astonished me, and I think while identity theft is not a crime, is my favorite thing, my second favorite thing that you've done is Lady Gaga impersonation. I mean, that was just, again, I probably watched that so many times, just giggled so many times about that, when you just impersonated Lady Gaga saying the most like insufferable thing ever about getting out and voting. Yeah. And you had some backlash from that.
Oh, I got a lot of backlash from that. Yeah. And it came at me from all sides, because not only was it, first of all, it was nothing personally against Lady Gaga. It was nothing about her music. It was nothing about her politics. It was just, she put out a cringe video. it would be the same thing as if I was, the Imagine video that they put out early in the being in quarantine. Imagine, like, if I were to do a parody of that, I'm not making fun of, Gal Gadot or any of those other. I'm not attacking them personally. I'm just making a spoof, a satire, because they made a cringe video.
Right.
Yeah, the backlash on that, I did not expect. I didn't expect any of it, because I expected people to say, "Oh, that's a satirical video," right, making fun of how cringe it was, because it was cringe. And yeah, I got backlash from
For little monsters, right?
yeah, it's like I didn't even know they existed. It was their it's not even it's on so many different levels, but yeah, they're Lady Gaga fans. But they're vicious. Like they come at you, they attack you, like on Twitter, like through all the comments and everything. And it's just, but they try and troll you through all this stuff and satanic German, like it was all over the place.
Yeah.
But it's on so many levels, because they're also trying to get attention from Lady Gaga.
Right.
So I feel, like Dave Portnoy's army, like I feel like that, like these are like Lady Gaga's army.
Right.
But at the same time, like they're trying to get attention from Lady Gaga, but they're doing things that I don't think she would condone based on her message. So it's just one of those things where it's like, yeah, it's creepy and everything, but at the end of the day, I feel bad for them.
Yeah.
But yeah, also I had people, it wasn't anything political.
Right.
Like it's a matter of like, hey, just vote for whoever the hell you want. I don't care. And I had people saying, "Oh, he's a Trumper," and then people saying like, "Yeah, it was all over the place." And it was just like, it was a minute video. I thought it was funny. I thought it was satire.
It was funny. It was, if you have a sense of humor and you're not just, have your head up your ass, like a lot of people on both sides of it, if you're in the middle, like, which I feel like you are, which I feel like a lot of people are, then you would have found it funny. And I think that while we remember the negatives, just know that there's a lot of people who thought that was absolutely hilarious.
Yeah. It was nice to get the recognition, because I think it was only there. I had just gotten hired for Barstool.
Yeah, it was early on. Yeah.
And so it's like 1 or 2 weeks in, and all of a sudden I've got like this video that hit 10 million views, thanks to like,
yeah.
And I was like, all right, hey, like, I guess they say welcome to the mud, it's
right.
like, all right, I guess I'm here.
Well, you're probably like, this is easy. 10 million views in the first week. This is nothing.
Yeah.
All right. So we're going to transition to cards real quick, but I think what a lot of people probably want to hear, and I think really just a cool story for you to tell. Like, for every, we're in our early to mid 30s, pretty much anybody, a warm-blooded male that's age 16 into like their early 40s, probably wishes at one point they worked at Barstool Sports. So like, what is it like to work at Barstool?
And so it's fun. It's I'll say this is the best way I think I've come up to figure it out, or to describe it. When you're in high school and you have like a homeroom day, or like everyone had their homeroom.
Yep.
Where like this year, like the juniors are taking their FCAT. We have FCAT down here, or whatever standardized testing you're doing. Mm-hmm. But we're not in that year, so we just stay in homeroom all day. Like, I feel like that's what it is. Like when I go to Barstool, it's kind of like, okay, I'm going to work, I'm going to school. But then you get there and you're just kind of hanging out with like very creative people doing fun stuff that you would want to be doing anyway. Mm-hmm. And like the bell never rings. Right. It's like you're sitting in homeroom, like you're in school, you're waiting for school to start, but the bell just like never rings.
Right.
And you're just kind of hanging out with your friends doing stuff you would want to do.
Right.
I think that's pretty much how it is, because there is no direction.
Yeah.
You mentioned earlier, Dave was talking about me on the Dave Portnoy show, when he hired Frank Fleming, Frank the Tank, and myself.
Yes, your fellow unit.
Yeah, he hired us around the same time. Yep. And going back to like doing something, I flew up there to play mini golf with Frank, and that was before I got hired. And that was one of the things. It's like, hey, like Doug's is retired. What can I do as retired Doug's? I saw that Frank was playing mini golf. I'm like, I want to play mini golf with Frank. So I reached out to Frank. I'm like, hey, let's play mini golf. He said, sure, come on up. I'm like, all right. So I flew up there again on my own dime. I just flew up there, to play mini golf. And that picture of Frank and I playing mini golf at like Essex County Safari mini golf.
Yeah.
That's what like pushed Dave to that point where he was like, I'm gonna hire these guys. And he said on the show, I think I can pay for their salary on just doing a mini golf tournament. And so really Dave hired me to do like a mini golf tournament, and that was it.
Mhm.
So everything else that I've been doing is like, there's no direction or anything. It's just do what you want to do.
Mhm.
And luckily, like everything else in 2020, what I want to do is actually something that people kind of want to watch for some reason.
Right.
I
Right.
so
That's a great transition. So the reason why I seek you out to talk about this was because you were breaking cards on Twitter. And what I thought was really interesting, I've always thought of a way, because I'm from New England, see all this, of course. I grew up, I was in my early 20s when Barstool was really cutting its teeth. I was living in Boston. I went to Game On, where Dave used to host, Barstool Trivia Night. And I used to see him all the time there. And so I consider myself a stoolie, I guess. I'm a Barstool loyalist. I feel like I know everybody there just because it's the website I read on a daily basis. I've seen Big Cat go from, just calling into the Dave Portnoy show to all of a sudden he's running Barstool Chicago, and now he's a part owner of Barstool. Same thing with KFC and K Marco, and how they did For Sure Not, and then moved into Barstool Youth and Barstool NY. Like, I've seen the growth of Barstool. I think it's super impressive, and I'm every step of the way, I'm cheering for Barstool to get better and get better. And it's, Dave says to the moon, and it's absolutely, it's true. That's eventually going to happen. I think it's really, really impressive. And they find talent like you, and they figure out ways to work with you to find some sort of niche. And cards is absolutely perfect for Barstool. You have sports, you have athletes, and you have gambling. And that's like the three core things of Barstool sports.
yeah.
Every time you rip a pack of cards, you're gambling. Every time you get into a break, you're gambling. Yes, it's not the same thing as winning $200 on a game, but you could hit a card that is all of a sudden very liquid, and you go from buying into a break for $40 and you hit a card for $200, and there you go. So I was always trying to formulate in my mind, how can Barstool get into the card game? And then Coach Doug showed up. And again, perfect timing for you, because 2020 has been such a crazy year for cards. I mean, the moment lockdown happened, prices shot through the roof. And as you mentioned, we talked before this, you got back into cards in 2019. You've always been a collector. You've always been into sports, always been into cards, but you really got big into it back in 2019. What have you seen since then that's just like absolutely blows your mind?
Yeah, and just following cards and thinking about the cards that I wanted to buy in 2019
Mhm.
that I didn't, because I thought it was like, that's a little overpriced.
Yeah.
And this being a year later, I was looking at I'm an FSU fan, graduated in 2012, so I'm all about FSU. I was looking at Deion Sanders rookie cards,
Mhm.
in 2019, and he has quite a few. He has Tops and Score, and the NFL prospect one. But the Score 1989 Deion Sanders rookie card, where he's got like the Jerry curl or the perm,
Yep.
or whatever it is, it looks wet, but it's not, as he would say. And it got the Atlanta Falcons like old school black hat on.
It's a great
And
card. Yeah.
it's a beautiful card. And it was like, I want to say $200. And I'm like, I couldn't pull the trigger. I couldn't do it on a single card. I couldn't do it. And then I would go back to check it out to see if, hey, maybe the price dropped. Maybe somebody else will throw it on. This is the PSA 10, not just the
Right.
standard.
Right.
Is the good one. But I kept checking every couple months to see if maybe somebody threw it on there. They just want to get rid of it.
Yeah.
And I think now it goes for around $800. And so I'm just in the back of my head, I'm like, I'll get it later on. Right now, I need to focus on what I can buy now to build up, so that in 2 years I'll have enough money to trade that for the Deion Sanders. So that's what I'm focused on now, is just, all right, there are certain cards that have gotten away from me, and I just can't pull the trigger on it now. Especially in the back of my mind, I'm always thinking like, hey, this is going to end tomorrow.
Yeah.
Like the excitement around it and everybody coming in, like, who knows once quarantine is over if people will, go back to collecting whatever else they were collecting. So yeah, right now that's the craziest thing to me, is just the quadruple of price on a PS card. So right now I'm just looking at smaller cards that I can buy now that maybe in a couple of years I can flip.
Sure. So, it's funny because I I've been heavy into the hobby again. Like I kind of like you, was off and on. And then in 2017, I really started to take it seriously again and really started to develop our website, cardzar.com. And I've had those losses too, where I sold too early. Like I bought a Mahomes Donruss optic rated rookie for like $3 his rookie year when cards weren't big yet, and graded it, came back PSA 10, into it for $13. All of a sudden, Mahomes wins a Super Bowl. I flip it for 425. I think I'm just like, the Monopoly man, just like, twirling, I'm the man. And then what happens? COVID happens and it triples in price. It's like, oh, yeah. But for all of those losses, there's been plenty of wins. And we had Zach Kamen on from DC Sports 87. They're a really great breaking site on our Facebook group and eBay consignment. And he just said, just don't look in the past, man, because he sold a couple Brady contender rookie autos for like dirt cheap. I mean, I'm talking, so, there's always those, you're kicking yourself, and that's just the game with cards. But you know what? It makes you kind of get smarter. So, the next time around, okay, I'll hold on to this, or I'll get this graded, or I'll just try to flip it right away. Because I mean, how many rookies are there that, like, DK Metcalf, you could have sold his Prism rookie middle of the season for $50-$60 raw, and today is probably going for like half that, because all of a sudden Seattle loses and they're not the team they were before. And same thing with Russ Wilson. I had his Prism SGC9. Actually, I think I got it right here. Hold on one second. Yeah, I was gonna sell this for like $500-$600, but I was like, well, wait a minute, what if he wins the Super Bowl? That's gonna be a $1,200 card. Well, guess what? He didn't win the Super Bowl. It's a $200 card now. So you win some, you lose some. I'm into it for $20, so whatever. Because I'm at the core, I'm a collector as well. I'm not just a seller, I'm more of a collector, which has been really tough to try to find that balance. But so where are you? So obviously Doug's Den on Twitter, on Instagram is where you're doing most of your breaking. Talk to me about Doug's Den. What's the plan with Doug's Den?
Yeah, and so Doug's Den was something, again, there's no direction when you're at Barstool. It's just, hey, go do what you want to do. Yep. I'm like, all right, I enjoy cards. Well, not just cards, but I enjoy collecting. I enjoy the memorabilia, the nostalgia aspect of it. It's, and like you said earlier, the fact that Barstool hasn't been in it before is crazy, because it's investing, it's gambling, it's sports, it's all that combined. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so Doug's Den, I was kind of like, hey, this is something I enjoy doing. And so for content, it's like, well, hey, I just want to do stuff that I want to do. And hopefully I'm going to find something that I like doing, and that hopefully other people enjoy going along the ride with. Mm-hmm. And Doug's Den happened to be that. I noticed that, hey, people are into breaks right now. People are into sports cards. And so we're doing that on a regular basis. We're breaking, 1 or 2 boxes here and there with the Barstool Fund that Dave started. Topps sent me a bunch of card boxes that we broke. And Upper Deck's going to be sending me some things. Hopefully I'll get some other cards from some other card companies. Great. But yeah, it's going to be, I don't plan on it being like a breaking channel or anything. Right. We are going to break boxes here and there, mainly for Doug's Den. We've been doing more breaks for the fund and everything, but really it's going to get into collecting in whole, as a whole. Sure. So it's not cards at all. It's, I want to go into somebody's man cave and be like, and just check out their collection. I interviewed a guy here in Jacksonville he's a woodworker, and he just had all these woodworking tools. And I thought that was like, cause I have cards, I have sports cards. I don't have, chisels and, wood blocks and all that stuff. But that was his collection. And so that's what we're going to be doing. We're going to be doing sports cards, but we're also going to be looking at just collections of anything, whether it's, memorabilia from celebrities, whether it's sports. I'm sure it'll be mainly sports, but any collections at all. We're going to be looking at that. So, maybe one time, maybe sooner or later, we'll have a Doug's Antique Card Show, that kind of thing. Yeah. Because I know with CardStar and everyone wants to know, especially if they're just getting into it, hey, what are my cards worth? Right. Unfortunately, for a lot of guys, they grew up in the, late 80s, early 90s. And so they have, a closet full of box sets that have never been opened. And they're like, oh, these are unopened, so they're obviously worth more. And it's just like, it's heartbreaking to tell them, like, right, probably not. It's, I had somebody and this is another, like, I had somebody tell me they were in, I want to say Michigan or Wisconsin or something like that. They're like, my dad was a bookie, and somebody paid him off with all these sports cards. And I'm like, yeah, like that's like, that would be an awesome Doug's Den episode, right, like where we come to your house, like check out your basement full of cards that your bookie dad got as a payment. And he wanted to send me a box. And I told him no. I was like, I'm trying to be polite as I can about it. Like, I don't want people spending their money to send me cards that aren't worth anything.
Right.
Like, cause it's not just because if the box of cards is worth $5, it's going to cost you $15 to ship it.
Right.
We're going to break it. And then what do I do with the cards? Like, you know, so it's just, but yeah, everyone's super excited about their cards. And so hopefully one day we'll do some kind of card show where, you know, or maybe like that might be a weekly thing where we just have people, you know, send in their cards and we do like a weekly card show kind of thing. I don't know, but this, you know.
Sure. Just thinking ideas. You know, there's no direction. You're talking out loud, right? Or thinking out loud. But what I thought was cool about the Doug's Den though is just the idea of dude stuff, right? Like,
yeah,
you know, just stuff that guys just want to kind of sit around and talk about. You make a 30-minute video, you crack open a couple beers and you watch and you learn about that. Because I did notice that when you started doing your breaks, a lot of people were asking a lot of questions about their cards and their collection and the stuff you were pulling. And, you know, me as an avid collector, as a seller, as somebody who gets into breaks a lot, like I've asked all those questions and they've been answered by other people. So, you know, I think it's great that you're able to share that knowledge. And, you know, I talked to a few people, engaged with a few people, because again, we're all there for the same thing, to kind of just to escape what's going on right now and to talk about cardboard and players that we like, whether they're on our fantasy team, you went to the same college as them, I mean, or there's your favorite team. I mean, it's a really fun hobby. It's a unique hobby. I had a lot of friends who, when I first started getting into it, kind of giving me shit for like, oh, you know, you're doing stuff we did when we were 10. I was like, well, you still watch wrestling. So, I mean, you know, it's like, and I still video games. No, there's nothing wrong with it. But I'm just saying, like, yeah, guys, like maybe this is just what we do. You know, it's, you know, I don't want to grow up, man. I just want to do what I did back then. And guess what? I can't tell you how many cards I couldn't afford when I was a kid that I can buy now that I got a job. And it's like, it's reliving some of those. Like I picked up the Autographics Grant Hill from 96, 97. That card was like always number one on Beckett's hot list. And I always wanted it when I was 10 and I could never get it. And guess what? Now that I'm in my 30s, I can afford it. So I bought it. And, you know, it's one of those things where it's going to stay in my collection forever. So I'm excited about what's going on with Doug's Den. Hopefully somehow, some way I can get involved. We can just kind of riff about cards one night.
For sure.
You know, that's what I do for fun. I mean, let's be honest here. I don't want to go anywhere right now. I just want to sit in my basement in my man cave. Maybe when it's all said and done, you can come to the man cave. You can see the madness that is cards are, because my wife at this point is just very, very.
We'll do a Doug's Den and check out your collection.
Perfect. So, all right. So Doug's, you need to get going soon because you got to record an episode of Barstool Units with Frank the Tank. Before we let you go, Frank the Tank, I mean, talk to me about that guy. His old videos are hilarious.
I get messages from my buddies from college who are like, what, they're asking me the same thing. What's this? And they'll send me his videos because they'll see him that he posted them before I see him.
Yeah.
Did you see this? I'm like, I haven't yet. He's, and Dave even mentioned it. You know, I'm sure it's a little tongue in cheek, but at the same time, very serious. Yeah. Dave tweeted like, you know, he's the number one content creator there is. Like, there's just these old videos of him. I think what people really appreciate it is it shows that like this isn't something like Frank didn't just become some new person after the Competent video. Right. Like, this has been Frank since day one. Yeah. Like that Tank, and I think that's why people enjoy him. He's so authentic. Like there is no drama. There's no care. Like he just, this is me, and people love him.
Absolutely. So, all right, Doug's, before we go, where can we find you on socials? So
at Coach Doug's on Twitter, and then on everything else, I'm Barstool Doug's because other people took the at Coach Doug's hand. Yeah, but I'm at Barstool Doug's everything else, and then on Twitter and Instagram at Doug's Den for all the Doug's Den content.
Awesome, man. Well, thank you so much for joining us. I'm looking forward to seeing your growth at Barstool. I'm looking forward to see you help promote the hobby that we all love. And like I said, hopefully we can work together in the future. But that is it for episode 6 of Czar Chat, brought to you by cardzar.com. Please make sure you check out Coach Doug's, follow him on all of his social media, get involved with his breaks, help support the Barstool Fund, which is supporting small businesses everywhere. To date, I think they're over $26 million raised, which is absolutely phenomenal, and just shows you what at the core Barstool Sports is all about. And again, Doug's, thank you very much. So follow us on Instagram at CardZar. You watch, like, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Obviously, you're here now. And of course, check out our eBay store and website, www.cardzar.com. And until the next time, guys, keep on collecting.